Hi everyone, it's Tammy Mastroberte with Elevated Existence, and today I want to talk to you about something that recently came up for me, and I sort of sorted it out in my head and wanted to share it with you because I think it's something that can help you as well. So really what this is dedicated to is a better way to solve problems and really also to make decisions. So recently in my own life, I had things pop up where it was like a big issue, it was a big problem, and I had to come up with a solution, and I had to do it quickly. There was sort of a timing issue involved in it. And so I think most of us, when problems arise like that, often we're not expecting them. We don't know that it's going to be an issue. Or sometimes it's been something that's simmering, and then now we're at the point where we really need to make a decision. We really need to do something about it. And it can bring up all of these emotions like fear and worry and stress and oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I can't even see clearly. How am I supposed to make a decision? I really have no idea what to do. And have you ever felt like that where you're like, I have to make a decision or I have to solve this issue and I do not have any idea what to do. And you're so overcome with the emotions of it that it's hard to even figure anything out. And so I started thinking about this, and luckily I have amazing people around me who remind me a lot of the time that, you really just go sit in your meditation room. And so I was like, I started realizing, you know what, there's a process that we should really be following when it comes to this. So I want to share it with you because I found that it really, really helped me. So when something comes at you and you find yourself kind of overcome by the emotions, especially of fear, of worry, of anger. All of that are kind of low vibrational energy emotions. And it's very, very hard to find a solution, to hear your intuitive voice, and to come up with or make any type of decision when you're stirring around in those lower energies, right? So the first thing that you have to do is recognize that you're swimming in this pool of lower energy, and you have to stop the insanity. That's what I said to myself. I was like, I need to stop this insanity, and I need to start feeling better first. So the first thing is kind of take that time out and say, oh, no, I cannot solve this problem from this place. And often we'll look at a problem or we'll look at an issue or we'll look at something that we maybe need to make a decision on. And we'll think, if I can just solve this problem, if I just get an answer, then I'll feel better. But the shift that I made, and I want you guys to make if you can, is it's not that when I solve this problem or when I figure this out, I'm going to feel better. It's that I need to feel better so that I can solve this problem and make a decision from a better place. So the first thing is to stop. The second thing is to take the time to reconnect. So luckily I had time, and I was working out of my house, so I said I'm just going to go into my meditation room. So I spent a lot of time just kind of getting revved up and going and calming down, getting revved up and going and calming down to try and make the decision from a better place. So if you can go and sit somewhere to do that, if you can't and you just need to calm yourself down, going for a walk and taking that time to kind of reconnect yourself, even just pushing away from your desk if you're at work, or sitting down somewhere briefly and kind of closing your eyes and doing those kind of deep belly breaths to try and bring yourself back down. You have to bring yourself back down. I often sit, even when this happened, I went into my meditation room, I put my hand over my heart because I wanted to reconnect with my spirit and reconnect with my higher self. And I just took my breaths and I let out all my fears, and I sat there and I reconnected with that heart space, and it brought me down. And then I was in a better feeling place. And from there, you can think more clearly. You're at a little bit of a higher vibration where you are now reconnected. You're more realigned with your spirit. Even if you just sit for a couple of minutes and say, I am connected, I am safe. and just kind of bring yourself back to a better place. And it's hard when you're in those emotional energies. It's hard to take that time out because once they start going, sometimes it's hard to break yourself out of it. But you have to take the time out. And then after you've kind of centered yourself and reconnected, you can ask for help from those higher energies. I actually sat in my meditation room. I have an angelite stone, and it's kind of like a flat stone. Those of you who've seen my meditation room video on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. So I literally sat with that stone, and then I even put my hand over my heart with the stone and asked for help and said, I know I need to make this decision. I really want to make the right one. I really want to be led in the right direction. I really need to find a solution that's for my highest good and the highest good of everybody involved. And asking for that kind of higher help. And then you're going to go back and try and solve the problem. And this doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit for an hour and do this. You can reconnect in minutes. You can realign yourself and calm yourself down quickly. But doing that before you try and tackle the problem is really the best thing. And by the way, you can go back to this. So let's say you do this and then you start talking about the problem, or you start working with somebody and you're getting yourself worked up again. Take another time out and then go back to the problem. And you can do this several times. But I've realized, and I've seen this before in my life, that when I reconnect, when I calm myself down, solutions show up. And my intuition now is more open to the solutions that might pop up, to the solutions that spirit might send to me, to the solutions that are in there, and all of the fear and the worry and the anger is blocking it. It's blocking those solutions. So taking that time, so stopping the insanity, taking that time to reconnect, and then asking for help before you go back to the problem. Like I said, the reconnecting could be going out for a walk. It could be a 10-minute break. It could be a 15-minute break. It could just be a 5-minute break to bring yourself back. But that is where you're going to be able to really find the right answers and those intuitive answers. You cannot find that when you're in that ego-y, yucky, fear, worry-based state. And then the other thing that always helps me, and I've done this for years, is whenever I'm faced with something and I see no solution, I have no idea what to do. And sometimes maybe there's nothing to do right now. So sometimes you're like, I feel a little better, I'm calmer, but I still don't really have a solution. And you have to sit in that space, and that's sometimes an uncomfortable space to be in. But what I have found is I always say to myself and to anybody else, I don't have the answer right now, but I know that everything is going to work out for the best. And the reason I can say that from a place of faith and really knowing that this may stink right now, but I know it's taking me somewhere, and that eventually I'm going to see why this is happening, is because I will look back at other times when I've been in a similar situation, or other times in my life where something was kind of chaotic and crazy and I couldn't see my way out of it, and then I eventually got out of it. So if you can remind yourself, even make a list so that you can refer to it, and remind yourself of all the times when maybe something fell through for you, but it led you to something better. Or maybe you were in the midst of this chaotic situation and you were so stressed out and you just didn't think some things were going to work out, and you didn't think that things were going to go your way, or you didn't think you were going to get that job or that house or whatever, and then the perfect thing came along. Remind yourself of that, because that will stop you from getting really down into that kind of depression where you start thinking there's no way out or there's no solution. Remind yourself, and I guarantee you we all have situations in our life that we've gone through that we can refer back to and see, oh my gosh, remember when that was happening? I was such a mess and I didn't know what was going to happen, and then look at this awesome thing that came along. We all have those situations. So if you can remind yourself of that, especially when you really have no solution and you have to sit in that like uncertain area for a while, you can find a little bit of certainty in that, because you can remind yourself of the times where you felt uncertain in the past and it led you to something fantastic. that helps me all the time. Even when I'm in that yucky state, I always say to myself, you know what, this stinks, but I know it's leading me somewhere. I know it's leading me somewhere, so I just have to make sure that I stay aligned, make sure that I'm calm, make sure that I'm open to solutions and coming at it from that place. And that eventually I'm going to be led to the right thing. And then I'll look back and be like, "Oh, all that stress and all that fear, I knew I was going to be led to something. I knew it was going to work out." So that helps me a lot. So again, if you could make a list, just even on your phone, so that the next time something crazy happens and you think I'm not going to find a solution, you can go back and say, oh, look at all these things that have happened in the past. So maybe I don't know what to do right now, but I will find a solution. So this is kind of a different way, I think, and a more aligned way of trying to make decisions on things and trying to come up with solutions when sometimes we really are in that fear zone or that despair zone. So I hope this helps you. I hope you can try some of this. And again, remember that, there really is always a solution. And sometimes we just have to wait a little bit and have some patience and keep ourselves in a better state until that answer comes. But it's really important to make sure that we're aligned and that we're feeling good so that we're not suffering so much until that solution comes, until we figure out that problem. Again, I hope this helps you. Leave any comments or send me an email on anything. And I wish you all well, and I will see you in the next video.